Junkyard Dog. Junkyard was there with me, and let's see who else.
Lawler was probably there.
Lawler was there, and the other guy, Dennis McCord.
Rittenford?
No, Dennis. He was there. They had Fullers were there.
Right.
People like that. Oh, there was a heck of a crew. I mean, they had some good people.
How did you wind up going to work for Bill Watts in Mid-South?
Well, Bill, because of Eddie Graham and them, and Bill liked athletes, and I was an athlete. And I guess he saw me and everything, and I ended up working for him off and on for 5 years, and that was an experience.
Huh.
I mean, it really was. To drive 400 miles one way every Monday night, do 3,000 miles a week. I mean, that was a rude awakening right there, but I loved it. I was gone all the time and I was on the road, but I was working every night, busting my, fanny, and, and as long as you do it, that you start seeing that, well, I'm worth more than he's paying me. So, I don't know. We went round and round at different times and everything, and finally I left there and went to Charlotte because I was working. For somebody, and I was in St. Louis, and George Scott saw me and asked me if I wanted to come to Charlotte and team me up with Jimmy Snuka.
Right.
And I said, absolutely. So anyway, I went there and stayed there for about a year and a half. So. And then I went to Pensacola after that.
Now, before you went to Crockett, you worked with Ernie Ladd and guys like Dusty and Andre. What were these guys like back then?
Dusty, I wasn't really around Dusty that much. Ernie Ladd was the first guy that really gave me my first break. Ernie. I have the utmost respect for Ernie Ladd because he helped me tremendously.
I was going to ask you who are some guys that.
Well, he was a hero. Like I said, I went to Hero's funeral here almost 2 years ago, I guess, and I was down there. Went to Florida. I live in Atlanta now, and but Ernie Ladd, Bill Watts, Eddie Graham, these people like this. I mean, they were the best. Eddie Graham and Bill Watts didn't get no better mind-wise. I mean, Eddie was a genius when it came to that. And he knew, Eddie was what Vince McMahon is now, or was.
Right.
Yeah, and Bill Watts was right there with it, too. I mean, they had that vision. Actually, Bill Watts was the first one to run a big show in a dome, because we did the Superdome, So Bill Watts was really the first to run a big show.
Was he tough on his guys? I've heard a lot of stories.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Me and Brian, what we was his hitmen,
Right.
If somebody wanted to break in, they had to go through us.
Right.
And then Brian left, and then it was me, and I enjoyed it. Bill did too.
What was it like as a new guy to work the Superdome?
Wow. No, I played there before. It was exciting. I mean, it really was. I mean, there was quite a few people out there. It was, I don't know, 20,000, 25,000 people or something like that.
Right.
I happened to be the North American champion then, and I worked with Brody.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah. And it was, there again, I only had about a year and a half, 2 years under my belt. And so I had to grow up in a hurry.
I was going to ask you, were any vets jealous or bitter that you were early success?
I don't think so, but I'm sure there was, yeah. I'm sure there was, yeah. But I got along with everybody, I don't. But yes, some of the older guys,
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any memories of Andre from this time period?
Yes. Well, in the 80s up in New York,
right.
Yeah. Me and Andre, you remember that Club 54?
Yes.
Remember that used to be in New York City?
Yes, the famous ones.
Well, we went to that. And I used to go different places with Andre because I liked him.
Right.
Andre was a really smart guy. He a lot smarter than people, thought he was. Maybe he didn't come across, but Up here, he knew. I mean, he did well, and he knew this business, and he took care of it. And I respect him a lot. I mean, I liked the guy a lot. We were friends, and if he didn't like you, you'd know it.
That's what a lot of people say that about him.
You'd know it. Either you did or you didn't. I mean,
Right.
hopefully he did.
Right.
But I've worked with him, against him. I enjoyed him. I liked him. I mean, he is a true giant. There's never will ever be another Andre. Never.
How about Stan Hansen? What was he like around this time?
Oh, he was a machine, man. Me and him, of course, he was bigger than I was. I was about 230 back then. I worked with Stan at one or two of the Superdome shows, too. And, you know, Stan just never gets tired. I mean, he is a big old Texas boy, and he could go, buddy. I mean, he to this very day in Japan, he has probably been one of the people that have drawn as much or more money than anybody over there to this day.
Without a doubt. Definitely.
Yes, sir. Very good guy. Ex-football player. I got along with him well. I like Stan Hansen a lot.
Now, when you left Bill Watts' territory, you went, we talked about the Crockett's. Did you and Bill leave on good terms?
No.
No.
Something about whether whoever it was down there was selling the T-shirts. Well, he was selling my shirts, and I wouldn't get no money out of it. I blew up. So the next morning they said, "You're fired." And I said, "Well, I was leaving anyway, and I'd already had me somewhere else booked. And
Right.
They didn't even know it. But they did me a favor."
Now, when you went into the Crockett's territory, you talked briefly about teaming up with Jimmy Snuka. What was he like back then, in and out of the ring?
Me and Jimmy were like husband and wife almost. We were every day. We were together on the road. Everything we did, everything together. And Jimmy taught me so much. I mean, there is a true. This guy here, there again, he was one of the best ever in this business, because you never know who's the best. It's hard to say. It's a matter of opinion.
Right.
But Jimmy Snuka, it was right up there with anybody in this business. I mean, the body on that he had and the psychology he had, because he knew the business.
You guys were managed by Lars Anderson, correct?
We might have been in the beginning a little bit,
Right.
and then it broke off, I think. Yeah.
You also had some classic matches with Greg Valentine around this time.
Greg's another good one. He's real. He was an old school. He was like the type guy you lay him into him, and he lay him right back. And he was good to work with. I enjoyed working with him.
How would you compare the locker room as far as the Mid-Atlantic region to the Mid-South region?
Well, you had a lot more stars in the Atlantic. I mean, you had a lot of stars there. I mean, you had Flair, Steamboat, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, people like that. And up there with Bill, you had a lot of young guys.
Right.
You had a lot of the young guys, and you had a few of the older guys that were like light fixtures there, that were just there. But you learned from them as well, and if you asked one of the vets to help you, they would help you. But if you didn't ask them, they weren't going to give it to you for nothing. They weren't going to come up and say it. But that's just the way this business was. And I got along with most all of it.
And I believe you and Jimmy won the NWA tag titles. Did you guys go to any other different territories to defend those titles at any time?
Well, yeah. At that time, they would every other week we'd go to Atlanta, and we'd work on Channel 17.
Right.
So we were kind of back and forth. We'd go to St. Louis and make some big shows together. Yeah.
Any memories that stand out?
Oh, yeah. Well, just the memories of being with Jimmy and some of the matches. Oh, with the matches with Ole Anderson and Gene Anderson. We had some fantastic matches with Ole, and there again, he was a machine.
Right.
He just kept coming and coming, and all this time was a learning experience for me, and I took it in.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.